This video is brought to you by Wargaming's World of Tanks. The first 300 users to use our special promo code will get 7 days premium time and more.
You're weekend sailors, not the bloody Navy.
You should be at home!
With anticipation growing by the minute, now's the time to bone up on some key facts about Christopher Nolan's upcoming film. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 things to know about Dunkirk. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we'll be looking at Christopher Nolan's newest film, Dunkirk, which will be released on July 21st.
You can practically see it from here.
What?
Home.
Number 10. The film tells 3 different stories.
What has happened is a colossal military disaster.
World War II was primarily fought in 3 places, on land, in the air, and at sea. Dunkirk takes a similar approach, choosing to tell 3 different stories from each of these distinct points of view. What's interesting about this is that it allows the viewer to better understand what it was like to be a boots-on-the-ground soldier, a pilot in the sky, and a sailor at sea. All 3 of these army branches experienced the conflict differently, as soldiers on the beach could be stuck there for up to a week, men at sea worked daily shifts, and pilots spent an hour in the sky at most. Number 9. Dunkirk takes inspiration from a number of films.
The enemy tanks have stopped.
In the lead-up to the release of his newest film, director, writer, and producer Christopher Nolan held a screening series featuring 11 films that served as the inspiration for Dunkirk. While some, such as All Quiet on the Western Front, were obvious, others like Speed and Tony Scott's Unstoppable were not.
Oh, Jesus.
The latter films were chosen due to their stress-inducing nature, as both are races against the clock to prevent tragedy. In that way, they mirror the plot of Dunkirk, making it easy to understand why Nolan chose them.
If we go there, we'll die.
Number 8. It's one of Nolan's shortest films.
Every hour the enemy pushes closer.
Christopher Nolan's name has become synonymous with epic films that are able to connect with viewers on an emotional level. Oh, and they're usually long. Very long. In fact, the last of Nolan's feature films to be released with a runtime of less than 2 hours was 2002's Insomnia.
Oh, that's a long time.
Since then, his films have clocked in at well over 2 hours in length, with some even approaching the 3-hour mark. We're looking at you, Interstellar.
Time is relative, okay?
However, Dunkirk has a runtime of 1 hour and 47 minutes, so waiting for the ideal time to run to the washroom shouldn't be much of a problem. Number 7. The film uses real ships and planes.
He's on me!
When it comes to historical dramas, the best way to be totally accurate is to shell out the cash for the real deal. Because of Dunkirk's subject matter, that meant spending $5 million on vintage Nazi aircraft that were subsequently destroyed during the shoot. But it didn't stop there, as Nolan also brought in and renovated a number of actual warships. As an actor, it must be a heck of a lot easier to pretend you're a soldier fighting in World War II when the ships and planes from the actual event are all around you. Number 6. There is very little CGI.
You know, pretend there's an explosion happening over here, it's actually going on, and then I think, you know, that just means you get natural reactions to stuff.
For a while, CGI was the hottest thing since sliced bread. Everyone from Steven Spielberg to Martin Scorsese was using it to make their films as dynamic as possible. However, some directors have opted to include more practical effects in their films over the past few years, ditching CGI for simpler and sometimes more obvious solutions. Dunkirk did its best to avoid using CGI, and for scenes involving large amounts of soldiers and vehicles, cardboard cutouts were used to make them look real. When the movie comes out, you'll have an opportunity to guess who's an actor and who's one strong gust of wind away from falling over.
You know, you can never really put yourself there, but that is, I think, the closest you can come to putting yourself in that situation.
Number 5. The star is a relative unknown. Most of Christopher Nolan's films have been built around big stars. The Dark Knight trilogy had Christian Bale, Michael Caine, and Morgan Freeman. Inception had Leonardo DiCaprio, and Interstellar had Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway. While Dunkirk has its fair share of A-listers like Tom Hardy, Kenneth Branagh, and Cillian Murphy, much of the focus has been surrounding Finn Whitehead, a 19-year-old London native with 0 film credits to his name. Nolan has stated that he wanted somebody who was not only the same age as the soldiers on the beaches of Dunkirk, but also someone who hadn't yet dipped their toes in the Hollywood pool. With Whitehead, both of his wishes came true. Number 4. Nolan shot most of the movie with IMAX cameras.
I think where people can find a 70mm presentation of Dunkirk, they're seeing the best possible presentation of the story.
By now, Nolan is no stranger to using IMAX cameras for his films. However, he took it to a whole new level while shooting his most recent feature. Roughly 75% of Dunkirk was shot using IMAX cameras, a new record for the London native. The film will be released in 70mm in 125 cinemas, marking the widest release in that format in over 25 years. To get IMAX shots in places where it would have previously been impossible, including shots on boats, Nolan and cinematographer Hoyt van Hoytema used a special handheld camera.
There's a very unique experience for the audience there that they can't get in their living rooms.
Number 3. Harry Styles will make his acting debut.
Just stop your crying, it's a sign of the times.
If you don't know who Harry Styles is, we encourage you to get out of the rock you've apparently been living under. The British singer-songwriter is a member of the boy band One Direction, who have released a number of hit singles since becoming active in 2010. However, he's now set his sights on a new goal: acting. Styles is set to appear in Christopher Nolan's newest film and will play the role of Alex, a young British soldier stranded on the beaches of Dunkirk. Ironically enough, Nolan didn't even know who Styles was when he cast him in the movie.
He leads by example so much. He's like the first one there, the last one to leave.
Number 2. The plot.
They need to send more ships.
Dunkirk is based on the incredible true story of Operation Dynamo, a massive evacuation of Allied soldiers between May 26th and June 4th, 1940, at the onset of World War II.
We weren't shattered that much that we couldn't realise what was going on, not knowing if our boat was going to be the next one to be hit.
The event took place during the Battle of France and saw over 300,000 British, Canadian, French, and Belgian troops getting cut off from supply lines by the rapidly advancing German war machine. Over the 10-day period, soldiers endured brutal conditions while waiting to be evacuated, with an estimated 68,000 British casualties alone.
When I got to Dunkirk itself, the whole town was on fire. It was just chaos.
The plot all but guarantees the film to be a tense race against the clock, and is sure to keep audiences on the edge of their seats.
We shall never surrender.
Before we get to number 1, video game fans hoping to experience the reverence and historical accuracy captured in Christopher Nolan's latest blockbuster will be happy to hear that Wargaming's World of Tanks has partnered with Warner Brothers to help them do just that. 150 million players worldwide already know that World of Tanks is a series that gives these legendary military machines and events the authenticity and respect they deserve, along with the addictive, tactical gameplay that discerning gamers have come to expect. Number 1. The film was shot where the actual event took place.
Every hour the enemy pushes closer.
To cut costs, films will often choose to recreate a location instead of going for the real deal. But Nolan, never one to cut corners, decided to shoot Dunkirk in the same locations as the infamous World War II event it's based on. In this sense, the film seems determined to be as historically accurate as possible. And to that we say, thank God. Historical dramas, especially military ones, tend to live and die on whether or not they take liberties with the stories they're based on. Although this is but one example, you can't help but feel good about Dunkirk's likelihood of success.
Where are we going?
Dunkirk!
This video is brought to you by Wargaming's World of Tanks. The first 300 users to use our special promo code will get 7 days premium time and more.